Guys, welcome to the how-to video on the rainbow Suncatcher take and make it home craft that we are doing this week. The materials that Miss Ann gave out are not really hard to find, so if you watch this video and decide to make it on your own, you can get the contact paper at, I think, Target and Walmart or any kind of place like that. This is just clear, not frosted contact paper. And Miss Ann cut it so that it's about 12 inches, which we'll get into in a minute. And just black construction paper, right? You can get it at Michael's and at Walmart and I think at Target too. And rainbow tissue paper that you can get pretty much everywhere, all the places we already said, plus I think you can get it at Wegmans and maybe even the dollar store. I haven't been in the dollar store in a little bit, but they usually have stuff like that. So all of those materials are pretty easy for you guys to get in case you missed out on getting the kit. So you can do this your very own selves, even if you didn't pick up Miss Ann's kit. And I'm going to start with a very important tip. The last thing that you're going to do is take the paper off of the contact paper, the back off. So contact paper is sticky like glue on one side and smooth like plastic on the other side. See here? And here's the papery back. And here's the clear, shinier side. You want to get everything ready to go before you pull the sticky the paper off and exposing the sticky gluey part, because it will start sticking to all of your stuff when you try to put your whole thing together. So what we're going to want to do is put our contact paper to the side and worry about our other materials first. Now, if you are some of my younger watchers and you just want to do no construction paper, no frame, no anything, you just want to make something colorful to stick up on your window, that's totally cool. We don't even need to deal with this construction paper and scissors and measuring and anything like that. All you're going to do is take your tissue paper and just tear it up and stick it on your contact paper in any design that you want to do. Really simple, really fun, straightforward, you can be done. If you want it to be a little bit more complicated, what I'm going to say is I think it looks really cool to make a frame out of the black and make a bunch of different lines that separate the colors, kind of like if you were making a stained glass picture or something like that. So that's a little bit more complicated, and I'm going to show you guys how to do a rainbow. Cut the rainbow out of this black piece of paper so that you can stick it on your contact paper and then stick it on your window when you're done. And let the sunshine shine through and it will be nice and pretty. The first thing we're going to do is cut up our piece of construction paper. And I am going to move the video so it just shows Miss Ann's hands because it's a little bit easier for you guys to see what I'm doing. And I'm going to come back and we'll start tearing up the tissue paper and sticking it on there. Now, you of course do not have to do a rainbow. If you want to do just a square outline, you can do that. You can do anything you want to do. If you want to do like an abstract kind of thing and stick the colors in there, that's cool too. Miss Ann is fine with whatever choices you make. Okay, so let's move over and I'll show you how to cut the rainbow stuff out because it's kind of tricky. Not too hard, but just a little bit tricky. Okay, so you have your piece of black construction paper and we're just going to fold it in half the hamburger way or the more horizontal way so that it looks like this. So you want it to be fatter rather than skinnier. And you want your edges to match up. Think of this part, the folded part, because we're going to open it up again later like it's a book or like when we do snowflakes in the winter, make the rainbow, half the rainbow on this side. Be a little bit more rounded out at the top. Just like this. So it's just a little bit more curvy. Now, before you start cutting, this is where you might want to use your pencil to kind of sketch out like each layer of the rainbow. Really gonna do that? You can do that if you want to, and you also are gonna decide how many pieces of the rainbow that you have, that you want to have, how many colors do you want in your rainbow, because that's how many spaces that you leave. So I think that cutting the rainbow pretty thin is the way to go. Okay, so here is the top part of the rainbow that I have started right here. I just cut a really thin piece of the paper. It's still attached to the bottom. So I'm gonna cut a little slit here at the bottom, and then cut it back up this way. See, so I cut out a strip like this, like this part, like this negative space now, this empty part is where like we're gonna put the first color of our rainbow. So what we did was we cut kind of like a small strip down this way where it's still connected on the bottom, like that. Then we cut back up the other way. So you're cutting like a small slit and then cutting all the way through the connected part that's at the side of the rainbow. See, we're not going to cut through this. We're going to cut here and then cut back up again. And then cut all the way through the folded piece. So we cut the negative space out. We're gluing all of this down anyway, so you could theoretically just take these spaces, the ones that we've cut out, and stick them on your rainbow and it'll look fine. I'm gonna do this next part in fast motion so that we can get quicker to talking to the next part. Okay, you guys, so now that we cut out our rainbowy part, the negative spaces that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which should be around the number of colors that we have right there. You can cut this much thicker if you want to. Like if you only want to do 3 colors, it'll be a lot easier. You won't have to cut such little teeny thin ones. Fold it in half, the folded part to the middle of your rainbow part. On the open side, you're just going to cut a little part for your rainbow to go, and then start on your folded side, and you're going to cut down in a semicircle all the way down to the open part right here. See, but we're not going to cut all the way down. We're going to cut over toward the middle of your rainbow a little bit, like this. Cut back up. See, and there's a much bigger. So that's the negative space that we're going to put some of our rainbow in. So we're going to cut the next one. Same idea, don't cut all the way down. Make sure you don't cut through the spaces up here where we have to open it up like when we do a snowflake. Cut over a little, cut back up, and then this is where you can cut through on the folded space to leave your negative area. We have 1, 2, and 3 spots. See, a lot easier. And actually, you can even take the piece that you just cut out right here if you wanted to add one more. See, so this is if you mess it up. You could stick this part right in the middle of your rainbow like this and stick it in. It's not a big deal. The contact paper won't care. So let's get into talking about our colors. I'm giving you a whole bunch of different colors inside of your kits. So we're going to go along them in rainbow order. Now, you of course do not have to do this in rainbow order. Miss Ann doesn't care if you put green next to pink, next to purple, next to blue, like in that. I don't care. Do what you want. But let's just go over our rainbow order just in case. We're going to go along the idea of Roy G. Biff, right? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Pink, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet. You might get a little bit of a darker blue and different color violet. I might give you a little bit more two blues depending on how it all works out, but it'll be around those kind of colors. Your colors kind of set up to tear it up when we undo the contact paper, which we will do right now. So get your garbage out of the way before we open up the contact paper. And you might need a grown-up to help you do your contact paper because you have to like kind of have fingernails a little bit to get it. And that's part of the other reason why I gave you guys such a big piece, because you might want to trim on the edges. I don't know what your window situation is, so I tried to give a big enough piece that you could work with whatever you want. To start doing the contact paper part of the scrap, we're going to put the contact paper down. Glossy side, the plastic side, is on your table, and the paper side is facing up. Okay? And so then you're going to look on your corners, and you're going to start to try and pull away. There should be a corner that's a little bit easier. And you're going to pull. It looks like I'm pulling away nothing right now, like I'm doing a magic trick. Oh, there it goes. If you want to do a smaller one, like if you want to do two smaller ones, which you totally could do, get all of that ready before, cut your contact paper before you put it down, because it starts to stick to everything, and I want to make this. You can unstick things from the contact paper, it just is a pain. So let's take the rainbow that doesn't have as many spaces, just to see how we can do that. That looks like this. And if you want to trim some of your sides down because you think this might look a little bit too pointy or something, feel free to do that. And stick it down on your contact paper. So now you're going to want to kind of work from the middle out to stick down everything. And if it doesn't lie totally flat, that's okay. Make it kind of lie as much flat as possible. If you have like little air bubbles or something, try to push them out. But if it wrinkles up your paper a little bit, that's okay. So it'll look like this. Like if you did what Miss Ann did, which is you just cut this part out, you can stick that right there in the middle. And even though we cut it, you can see it doesn't look any different. It doesn't really matter. You could just stick these on the thing wherever, and even if you cut them out and it got messed up, you can still put it together any way you want to. Cut pieces and stick them together as like some cool pattern. I might do that for you guys too, to see how that looks like if we were to do that instead, but I'm just gonna go along with a rainbow right now. In a rainbow, it starts from the red part and it goes to the purple part. So, but because we only have 1, 2, 3 spaces for color, maybe if I cut, see, you can do, if I cut this middle part out, we can put one more color down at the very bottom. I'm gonna pick red, yellow, green, and blue to have this rainbow be, because it's only got 4 spaces for colors. I'm gonna start by just ripping off a little piece of the red. This is a pretty good size. You could do it a little bit smaller if you wanted. You could do it all smaller if you wanted. That's fine with me. But it kind of is easier if you match it up a little bit to the same size as your the space that you have to do it in. And you don't want it to go over the lines if you can at all help it. So you don't want it to be stuck on the other side. So if you do get some that you made maybe a little bit too big, you might want to trim it before sticking it down altogether. So you can see that I've started to fill in the red spots just by ripping and sticking the tissue paper on there. And you can overlap them as much as you want to. You're going to want to make sure you don't run out of tissue paper though. So you might want to have a little stack together before you start sticking them down so that you don't run out of tissue paper. You would switch to your next color, which I have here, which is yellow. Same idea will apply. If you only do a couple of colors like this, and feel free to mix up the colors if you want to, or put the ones that you don't use all over the outside. See? Gentle about it, because if you go really hard into it, ripping all the stuff, you're going to get weird shapes of tissue paper, which is fine too. You can just tear it to be the shape that you need. So I did the red and the yellow, and I started the green, and I'm going to come back with the finished product in a minute. I finished my rainbow, and I've done another example along with the rainbow that Miss Ann did at the library, which she's putting up right here, and the flower that she also did. And remember, those examples, you could see them in real life when you came and picked up your kits, or anytime you come to the library. The rainbow is on the window in Miss Ann's office, and the flower is on the window in the community room where we used to do story time, and hopefully we'll do again very soon. I want to show you the new rainbow that we did just now. Here's another important trick slash tip, is that you're going to want to as much as humanly possible, fill in all of the spots where there is the space in between the black parts, because you can see, I don't know if you guys can see, I left it up there, but I don't know if you can see. There's an empty spot in the top of the red, so when you put it in your window, you're going to see it a little bit more. Look right here, she got a piece of tissue paper stuck on here, so she's just going to cut it off. Now, the most important part of sticking these on your window is making sure that there's enough sticky spots outside of your Suncatcher creation, whatever you end up doing, to stick on the window. So do you see how much space Miss Ann has outside of the Suncatcher? You're going to want a lot of space, because if it goes right up to the edge, your design, it's not going to stick on the window. And I'm going to show you the other smaller abstract one that she did, so that you can have a different idea of what you can do with your creation. See, I just kind of put a bunch of colors together. But I think it looks kind of cool. And I just want to show you too what it looks like on the back. It's hard to see it on the video, but they're kind of fuzzy. They don't look very neat. So, but when you stick it on the window, it looks a little bit better. So we're going to go and stick these on the window. You can see my window right in front of me, and I'm going to take this smaller abstract design and stick it. You can see that I want to leave as much, space around the outside so that I get as enough stickiness on here as possible. And you're going to want to kind of go from the middle and push it out to get all the air bubbles out. You can see, oop, I missed a little spot right there. Sometimes it's hard to see that until you put it up. But I still think it looks pretty cool. Here's the other rainbow one that Miss Ann did, so you can see it with the light coming through. And I only placed it on there because I want to show you how to kind of push the air bubbles out. But it was too hard to do it while Miss Ann was holding the camera. So we're going to go in a little bit, and you can see I think like the best thing is kind of push it up and out. And if you have air bubbles in there, it's totally fine. Don't worry about it. So again, pushing it up. And then same thing on the bottom. Pushing it down and out. Okay, done. I hope that you guys enjoyed this rainbow Suncatcher make and take it home craft and hanging out with me a little bit today, and we will see you again very soon. Bye, you guys.